Good morning, everybody. I am pretty excited for today's presentation. It's going to be all about unlocking the 5 secrets. All right. Hey, Vinny, how you doing, buddy? He's on the road. That is awesome. That's awesome, buddy. You're hopping in. All right, fantastic. Good stuff. And we got Mr. Soso. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy? Great, great. Are you guys hearing the background noise very loud, guys? Is it no? Thank goodness for technology. We're doing renovations here, so I got something on the background to help keep things in and down a little bit. A little slower in terms of a start this morning, but we got everybody will be here. Usually start chiming in usually at 9 o'clock. Today looks like it's a little bit of a slower start. I think that fallback week that's throwing everybody a minute or two behind. All right. Good morning, Ross. How you doing, buddy? All right. So let me while I get things popped up, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and open up share my screen here. Awesome. Share my screen. Let's bring this up over here. Alrighty. The recording has started. Let me hit share screen on this side as well. Share my screen. All right. Everybody should be able to see my screen now. Let me know if you cannot see my screen. I'm gonna put myself like this so that way you guys get to see the full screen. All right, and I'm just gonna give everybody a chance to come on. Um, so Vinny, how was your week, man? Y- Yeah, amazing, amazing. You started to wow some of those customers with those ninja skills you got yet? Your digital marketing knowledge that you got, those bombs. That's awesome. That's awesome. You're gonna love this session because I'm gonna show you. I'm on this session today, guys. It's all about reverse engineering your competition. So I'm gonna show you guys some really ninja tricks in terms of reverse engineering what your competition's doing, finding out what their traffic sources are, what keywords that are ranking that they're ranking for online, and basically how to reverse engineer what they're doing. So basically, you'll be able to go in there and completely blow their mind because they're probably thinking, I've got to figure out what I got to do, right? With customers, what I'm going to show you guys today is how to find out. All you got to do is know know your competition, and then you're going to watch me show you guys how to uncover what they're doing because that's what I want to make you guys smart marketers. I'm wearing the hat to show you guys today. It's all about being a smart marketer. Don't try and guess it, but really try to be there and see what they're doing behind the scenes. All right. So awesome. I see some more folks coming on. Kevin, hello. Good morning, buddy. All right. Kevin is on. Kevin's one of my customers, my sales guys on the team. He deals with customers and an amazing guy when it comes to branding. John, you'll probably be hearing from him soon. Sometime setting up a call with you sometime soon for one of your brands here. Wes, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Russell. What's going on? Get it on, get it on. Oh, all right. And good morning. Nice to see you. All the way from Kenya. That's awesome. All right. So I do have a couple of the folks that said they'll be trickling on today, but in terms of trying to make the most of this hour, you guys know those calls go almost all the way till the end. And sometimes I do try and stick around a little longer for people as they come on. Good morning, Piyush. So I do try and keep it in a sense where I try and stay as long to get everybody come on, but I always end up squeezing it towards the end of the call. So I'm going to try to start talking from right now so that way we make the most out of the call. All right. Good morning, Chinny. All right. So let's get started with it right away. Guys, do me a favor. Give me a number one in the chat if you can see my screen. Just give me a number one in the chat, and that the chat room is going to be where we do a lot of the communication going forward. Good morning, Kiana. All right. All right, perfect. So you guys can see my screen. That's great. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about unlocking the secrets to getting your business found online. Right. So one of the most common questions I get from people is, how do I get new customers? How do I get new people to find out about me online? Okay. And the way that we do that, yes, it is recording. It's Russell. Thanks for the reminder. I always just forget to rewind. So I got a program now, Russell, that does it for me. I don't have to think about it. From the time I turn it on, it starts recording. Right. I just got to remember that there's no more nose picking from the time I turn it on, because even though you guys are not on, it's recording me ahead of time. So maybe too much info, but nonetheless. But that being said, what I want to say is that the question I get is, how do I get found online, right? And the way that the internet works is search engines. The way the search engines work is that they help you get found based on certain terms that people type online, certain keywords that people will type in online. They will be screenshot is a thumb. Yes, that is right. It's a thumbnail. So the wait, is my thumbnail? Yeah, it's just a screenshot. It should say unlocking the 5 secrets to getting your business found online. That's what everybody's seeing, right? Yeah. So the way that you get found online is using keywords. Now, if I'm going to correlate that, I always try to correlate it to the traditional way of advertising before, just so it makes sense. If somebody wanted to buy a product or service, they would go to a directory. So something like the yellow pages or white pages back in the day, or if you're a business, you'd show up in those little flyers that would go around. And then the only way for you to get visibility would be to pay for a bigger space in that flyer, or for you to, if it was arranged alphabetically, because that's how they would normally have it broken down. They would have it broken down by categories, and then alphabetically within the categories, you would get a certain competitive advantage if your name started with A, or you were like triple A meats or something like that, because that would put you at the top of the list. With keywords, it's a lot different. It's just whatever you type in key into a search engine, and we're going to talk about Google being the main one. Whatever shows up on that first page has the best chance of ranking. It doesn't matter anything. It doesn't matter anymore about the name of your company, or like, for the most part, a lot of the things that used to or what category you were in. Okay. So what I'm going to show you guys is how to show up online when your customers are searching for you, and I'm going to show you guys some different types of keywords that you want to show up for to help you maximize the chance when people are searching for you online. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about search engine optimization. So what is search engine optimization? So search engine optimization, or a lot of people you hear use the term SEO, so, or SEO, some people say, but most commonly it's SEO is what you have probably people call it. It's not a magical art. It is it's somewhat pragmatic, but some part scientific as well. And the fact is, you need to do certain things for your brand to show up online. Let me just ask in the comments or on chat, what do you think, or what do you know that you have to have with your brand? What are some of the important components that you need to have in place for you to show up when your ideal customer is looking for you online? Let's get a little bit of participation with everybody, with some of the folks on here. What do you think you need to be able to do if you want to show up online for a particular term, search term? Okay, yep, I will change that around. Somebody's saying it's a thumbnail. While I do that, I'm just gonna change the layout. Is this better? What do you think? What do you think you need to have when you? No, not better. Maybe you can click on that. Any better? Let me do full screen. I think that's as big as I can get it. Okay, now it's full screen. Okay, perfect. Thank you for the feedback. All right. So if somebody searches for you online, I'm going to come out of presentation mode for a second, and let's say you have a business online. Anybody want to volunteer a business that they would like to show up, that they have, or they want to show up for? If not, I'm just going to go for a nice simple one. Let's go for real estate, photography, services, right? This is an example here of a keyword that somebody would search it online, and businesses want to show up for it. What are some of the things you think that all of these websites here have in common? Do you think they talk about real estate photography on a website, on a web page? I would say so. Yeah, your service. Yes, somebody said their service. So they would definitely talk about real estate photography on their web on a. So they need to have a website first. Then they need to have a page on their website that talks about about real estate photography services, right? So they have to have content on it, and then after that, there's certain on-page factors, meaning things they have to do on that page to make sure it shows up when somebody's searching for real estate photography services. Let me just get reply back to somebody here who's trying to get on. Some of the real estate photography services go on. As you guys know, there's always people that would have difficulty getting on with the other link. So we'll just make sure that I get that figured out. In the meantime, I'll just get access to here. All right. So what I was saying is that if they all of these websites have one thing in common. If you look a couple of things in common. If you look at some of the basic things, I typed in the word real estate photography services, and then this term is in the URL. So this one talks about real estate photos. They also have it in the title of the page, right? As well as they have it in the description down here. So you see it talks about real estate photography, right? So these factors here. Good morning, Annalyn. All right. So the important things here that we talk about is that in here you'll see that they have some important facts, some important things that they see here, mostly being the most prominent ones that we can see from the beginning is the URL, the title of the page, as well as the overall description of the page. And as you go through all of them here, you'll see that there's certain similarities that you kind of follow through. And these things, these similarities that you see is what's called on-page SEO. Okay. Now that I explained a little bit about what is a basic keyword and how you show up in the search results, I'm going to explain to you guys the different types of keywords as well as what they how they can help you. All right. Now, keywords, not all keywords are equal in terms of there are different types of keywords that you want to rank for, and there are different types of keywords that will help you in different ways. So in here, I've identified 4 key categories, 4 different types of keywords. Before I move forward, is everybody fairly clear on what I mean by what is a key? What I say a keyword? Everybody have a general understanding what that is now. So it's a group of words that, when typed together, brings up certain results on a search engine. Google being the biggest one. Okay, so the first thing is navigational keywords. So these are keywords that you want to show up. These are usually the easiest kind of keywords to show up for, but they are very important. So that means when somebody's searching for your brand name online, you show up. Okay, so whether your brand name is Gypsies, Javalogics, 1 in 9, whatever it is that your brand name is, when somebody types that term online, the very first thing that you should aim for within the first 30 to 60 days of you launching your website is your brand name showing up online? Okay, and it's going to be something straight like this, like Facebook, right? If you type in Facebook and you saw another website show up, that would be that would be very detrimental to the initial brand, right? So that's why Google pays a lot of attention to the domain name, the URL, for their search results. Okay, and that's where you hear some people saying they'll use a term called exact match domains. Okay, so meaning if you want to show up for this term, right? It was a practice probably around 7 years ago where they'll go out and buy this term, right? So realestatephotographyservices.com, because then your website would show up first, because they were banking on Google ranking them first based on just on the domain name. Don't worry about it. Google got smarter. They get smarter as they go. So now they know that that is a play that a lot of people try to do to game the system. They look for not just the keyword in the URL, but they look for the overall authority around it. Okay, everybody follow me still? So I talked about navigational keywords. So things like your brand name, your brandname.com, your brand name and prices, reviews, contact information, all terms that you should definitely get your website ranked for. The next type of keywords are informational based keywords. Okay, so these are keywords that you want your brand to show up for, but not necessarily somebody who's looking for you. This is somebody that's looking for a solution, right? So they're looking for luxury t-shirts, or they're looking for to buy a home, right? So house prices. So if you type in, if you're a real estate agent and your name is Preston Martelly realestate.com, right? But I'm looking for people that don't know who I exist. They want to find a solution. Something that I would do is I'd probably create some content around a city and home prices, right? So I live in a city called LaSalle. So I'll type in, I'll create an article and write about LaSalle home prices. So anybody in that area that's looking for that and types that into Google or any search engine, I will show up and then I'll provide them information that I can start to build a relationship with that. All right. So the types of informational keywords are things like city and keyword. You can do things like how to, right? Now, how to gives me the opportunity to talk about another important thing I want to talk about here, which is what are the different types of search engines. I said that Google is probably the biggest one. It is the biggest search engine in the world. But anybody can take a guess at what are some of the other search engines that are available out there? What else? What are other sites that are search engines? Yes, awesome. So you guys, yes, so you guys know some of the other ones. So Google is definitely the biggest. The second one is YouTube. Guess who owns YouTube? Google, right? And then the other ones that are out there are things like Bing, right? Well, why is Bing very important part of the search ecosystem is that Bing is the default search engine that comes with every PC out there. That was probably the smartest thing they did, right? They installed Bing in every PC. And there are a lot of people who are not as tech savvy as probably most people on this call right now, that when they get their computer, they just use the default browser. And that default browser is Bing, right? So you can definitely leverage that browser, especially if your target audience is not the millennials. It's more, people 45 and above, right, or who are less tech savvy. Okay, so that is informational keywords. There's also other places that you can look at for keywords, places like Amazon, right? That's another search engine. Facebook has its very own search engine that it launched about 6 years ago. It's in that little search bar. That little search bar on Facebook, it looks just very simple, but it is extremely powerful. And we'll talk about that as the call goes on. And also the product reviews. So if you're looking to buy a product, if you sell a product, a very common keyword you'll find is your product name and reviews, right? That's something somebody looking for information can be very beneficial to you and your brand. Does that make sense to everybody? DuckDuckGo. Yes, that's another great search engine. Okay. Is everybody clear on what informational keywords are? I'm going to move ahead. All right. The next one I want to talk about is probably the most important type of keyword on your site, but probably the most difficult to rank for. And these are what are called transactional keywords. All right. So that is when you have a product or service and a term. I like to call it my money keywords. Right. So these are terms that when somebody searches it online, they're specifically looking for a person to provide them with a solution. Right? So think of any product or service that you're looking for. If you type in that word plus the word quote, your intent is very money driven. That means your hand is very close to your wallet. You're looking for a solution and you're going to put your wallet out as soon as you have a chance. Think of it like this. Your toilet's flooding, it's overflowing. You go online. What are you going to search for? Plumber near me, right? Now, whoever shows up in that on that first page of Google for that term, no matter, as long as they match all the credibility flags, like, they have a website, they have a phone number, they might have reviews, you might look a little bit, but when your toilet's flooding, you don't have time to look at, how-to videos and reviews and how to do things yourself. You're just looking to get a solution right away. You want to make sure that you have your website optimized for that. Okay, so we talk about product and quote, service near me, buy, and to buy a product or so forth in it. These are transactional keywords, and I'll show you guys I want to teach you guys this before I show you guys how to reverse engineer the competition, because you'll see how they use it. Okay, and then the fourth type of keyword that we talk about, and that needs to be mentioned, is negative keywords. All right, so believe me or not, believe me, as much as there are keywords that you want to show up for, there are keywords that you do not want to show up for. Okay, why do you think there might be keywords that you might not want to show up for online? What would make a keyword be a negative keyword in your opinion, even before I get into it? Maybe Russell, maybe Any idea what a negative keyword is? You're on mute, so. But a negative keyword is basically a keyword that you probably don't want to show up for right away in the search results. So, for example, if when I typed in this real estate photography services, if you're a company that sells real estate photography, you probably don't want to show up for free real estate photography, right? Because that would bring you the wrong kind of traffic. That are people that are looking for free solutions, right? DIY and your product or service. So DIY toilet repair. Who knows what DIY stands for, right? What's that? Yeah, do it yourself. Exactly. So if you're selling a particular service, you might not want to show up for a do it yourself solution, right? The same thing goes for if you are, maybe you might want to show a do it yourself if you're selling a do it yourself handbook, right? But not if you're selling that as a service, right? Or different types of torrents that you might not want to show up for. Okay. Also, they're literally, we have, when we run ads for customers, we have a master list. I think it's over 700 negative keywords now that we put in, that we do not, we know that no matter what customer that we're working with, they do not want to show up for these types of terms, right? And we put that list, we've combed through that list every time we do a paid transaction campaign for a customer, because we know that these are, if these terms, if somebody types in a keyword plus that term, that disqualifies them from our list right off the bat. All right. So I went over the 4 types of keywords again: navigational keywords, transactional keywords, informational keywords, and negative keywords, so that we all have a basic understanding of how keywords work and how we can find the right ones for our brand. Now that we understand the intent of a keyword, we want to find out, number 2, is there search volume for that term? And then number 3 is, can we rank for it? How difficult is the competition for us to show up on Google or in any of the search engines for that particular term? Okay. Now, in order to do that, we're going to use tools to help us. All right. We're going to use because the really amazing thing about digital marketing, and that's why I love it so much, it's 100% transparent. Nothing can be hidden on the internet, right? Because I can show you any site that you go on, if you right click on it and you go to page source, even Google, this is the Google product. Google has to put all the information on that page in this code here. Now I know you're probably thinking that you might as well just throw a bunch of letters at the screen, because it doesn't make any sense. But if you understand how to read this stuff, right, which I'll show you guys some very simple clues on how to do that, this all tells us exactly how this page is made, right? So somebody who really is desperate enough to figure out how to recreate Google Docs, if they wanted to do so, they could come in here and decipher this code, right? And then figure out how to rebuild Google Documents if you wanted to actually do that. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. And that's basically, you right click on any page, and I'll show you guys a better example in a second on this. Google is pretty sophisticated. So that's going to be definitely more advanced code, but nonetheless, the code is always there, is what I'm going to show you guys. Now, for the keyword research part of it, I'm going to show you guys some keyword research tools, because you want to find out when you're looking. And I talked about keywords. We're going to use some keyword research tools to find out what kind of search volume, as well as what kind of competition is out there. Now, to do that, I'm going to show you guys 2 tools that have freemium access. Freemium meaning there's a limited access for free, and then if you wanted to upgrade it, you can pay for it to get the fuller advantage. Now, one of my favorite tools for spying on competition is one called iEspionage. Right now, iEspionage has a freemium version, so I would maybe make a note of that thing, or when you watch the replay, just make sure you do grab that. You can search any competition, any competitor online, and find out a lot of information about them. Okay, now let me do this. And while I'm already logged in, so I'm on my paid account, just because I want to not show you guys any of the limitations. Anybody here have a competitor in their niche that they would like to reverse engineer? Or you're curious, how is that company getting so much traffic, right? Or where are they getting the traffic from? Anybody have an example like that? Because it would definitely be beneficial to at least one person on the call if you guys give me a competitor that you that you have in your niche or your competitor that you'd like me to reverse engineer, because at least that way I can make it help at least one person on the call. If not, that's fine. I can come up with some generic um, ideas. What did I do? Yes, go ahead. Differences in the network marketing industry. Yes, it does. Okay, so you can tell, for example, the campaigns that your competition is running. Yes. How they're able to like rank for that. Absolutely. Absolutely, you can do that. Sorry, saying the internet's stable. I had a flicker just now, so I'm not sure there's something going on with the power, but we can do that. Do you have an example of somebody that you'd like to that you want us to take a look at, or you want me to just pick one? Just pick one. Yeah. All right. So let's just pick one. Let's pick one that everybody knows. Let's go to apple.com. Okay. We're gonna take apple.com and we're gonna analyze apple.com for the sake of simplicity. And we know there's gonna be a lot of detail on apple.com. All right. So let's go search. And you can change the country in here if you wanted to see, like, if you want to do Canada, you want to do a different country. There are lots of countries that are covered in here. Okay, so I'm gonna let that load. Apple.com is loading up. Actually, and while that is doing so, I am going to also open up another spy tool that I'm going to use right after. All right, so if you take a look at apple.com, the quick summary here tells me that this tool has found 4,703 keywords that apple.com is running pay-per-click ads on. Okay, they are showing up for 10,000 keywords that they're ranked for in the top 100 on Google, on Bing and Yahoo, and their average position in the search results is place number 2, and their budget, a monthly budget, is, this is way off. These can be off. It's saying between 16 to 44,000 based on what they saw here, based on these keywords here. Okay, now the reason why I say this is way off is because sometimes these tools, they'll scrape the data just like I showed you, but sometimes it might be a little bit underestimated or overestimated. And I definitely know for a fact that Google is spending way more than that on terms of ads. But nonetheless, you can see a very solid ballpark in terms of what it is. It's going to catch at least a fraction of those. And then the number of clicks before. So let's go through this right here. How to reverse engineer a competitor. Chinny, same idea. So instead of putting in apple.com here, you'd put in that that client, that affiliate client, or that other person that you want to check about, and then you can see what are some of the keywords that they're bidding on. And look at how this tool reverses it for us. It shows us what is the keyword that they're bidding on, right? It shows us the number of ads that they have bidding on that particular term, and they're showing us also the average cost per click, average search volume, which seems it's very off, the average position that Apple's showing up for, and the number, how long they've been seeing it online. Okay, now let me show you a little bit further into here. If we dig into this, so AVG free download for Mac, what kind of keyword do you think this is in the examples that I gave you guys before? Do you think this is a navigational keyword, a transactional keyword, or an informational keyword? Sorry, Ayan, I just saw the note for Northwood Mortgages. I'll take a look at that in a second. Okay. So this one would be an informational keyword. Okay. Or we might actually find, once we dig into it, we might actually see that it's a transactional keyword. But for now, for my educated guess would say that that's an informational keyword. We can see in here exactly what is the ad copy that Apple is writing, right, to be able to rank for this term that they've been advertising for over 1 year. Okay, now what I mean about smart marketers use data-driven decisions, you reverse engineer your competition, right? Instead of you going out and try and guess how to write an ad for this term, who here on the call, give me number 5 in the comments if you think it's much smarter to find out who else is already doing it, right? And write a copy that's better than what they have, right? I can guarantee you, Apple has spent thousands, probably millions, in terms of perfecting this, and they have a lot smarter people than I ever will be on their team to come up with the perfect title and meta description for an ad to go out, right? So they know that this is working, and the mere fact that they said that they've been running this for over 395 days, right? We now know that that is a term that they know that is the right combination of title and meta description based on their data to be able to rank and get click through for that particular term, which is free AVG free download for Mac. Does that make sense? So this is they've already done already. So when I talk about reverse engineering your competition, what I'm saying is that I'm doing this for Apple.com because we didn't have a particular industry to go after, but this would be the same thing for any other website online. If you put in their website online and you see the ads that they're going through, now sometimes their ads suck, right? And you can just make an educated guess, and that's where the human part will always come in. It's just that you know what, you can just say that that ad copy does not work, and maybe if you might want to test it because maybe they have data that says differently, but sometimes you can just see, hey, this is not something that applies to me, or this ad copy is not exactly what I thought it was, so let's skip it. But at least you have a base of where to get started. Okay, and what I would recommend that you're doing is you just go through all of the different ad copies that they have, look at the different keywords, see what keywords that they're using that you can use as well, and then take it from there and build your own list of terms that you're going to use for both. This is using for paid ads, but I'm going to show you guys also if we're doing that for organic. Okay, so if we go here to organic, we can see exactly what are the keywords that they're ranking for, and what are the what the pages on their website are, and what are the keywords that they're showing up for online. And then you can also see the trends of that term. You can look at the position that they have, right? And as well as basically the value of that particular term. Is this cool, guys? Anybody knew this existed before? Might take a little quick drink of water. Let me know what you guys think. Is this something that's beneficial to helping you with your business right now? Tell me. Go ahead. Great, great. Yeah, great question. So this particular tool that I'm showing here only does Google, Bing, and Yahoo. I will show you guys other tools that can see some of those other ones as well. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you guys. I'll show you guys. I'll move on to some of the other ones just for timing. But I just want to make sure that you guys understand the general idea of this tool right here, and basically how to interpret the data that you're seeing here. So it's telling us that this page on Google, on Google ranks for these keywords here. There's more than that. There's 129 keywords it's ranking for, and the average position is position 2.8, and it's getting a lot of traffic on a monthly basis. Okay. We also have another tool called iEspionage. Now, I know Ayana says she has to bounce, but I'll pop that in anyhow. I'll pop that competition in anyhow. Northwood Mortgage. Let's turn this thing off. It's bear with me 1 second, guys. We're gonna go to another one called SE Ranking, and this one again is also another freemium. So it has a free plan but it gives you, I think it gives you 10 searches a day, and the one I have gives 100. So I would, if you're doing this just for your business, I think that the free version is good enough to get started. And then if you find this is something that you actually, making it to become your part-time thing or your side hustle, or you start having customers, I would definitely consider paying for a tool like this. But if I take that term and I put Norwood Mortgage in here and I analyze it, because I'm assuming it's going to be a Canadian company, you click on analyze, you'll get some really cool data on this particular keyword. Let that load. And while that's loading, I'm going to jump onto the next one. So it's, if you search for Facebook ads, hold on, ads library. If you search for this, because of a court order that Facebook had about 2 years ago, they have to show all ads that are running on the platform now. So, smart marketers, we just use that to our advantage, right? So what we do, if we're going to run ads on Facebook, we just look at what competition's doing, copy it, make it better. All right. So it's all about reverse engineering the competition and using data to make data driven decisions. All right. So awesome. All right, we got two more people. We got Kimba. We got Michael's on. Awesome. All right. So Facebook ads library. If you search right here and you type in any category, right? You can do a category, or you can search by a name of a company or so forth. We can take a look and see what are the ads that they are running ads for. Oh, sorry, not in every niche, but specifically in these ones have to show up, right? And if the other brands are spending over a certain amount, they will have to show up as well. I forget what that amount is right now. I think it's 25,000 a day. All right, so let's just do a quick little search here, Chinny. I know you'd appreciate this one. All right, let's look and see what these guys are doing. Let's see what ads Turo, which is a car share company, is running on Facebook right now. You can see all of the ads that they're running, and you can see all the new ones that they're running exactly at a particular time. So these are going to be ads that they're going to have, that they're running right now at a target audience, not necessarily at on their page. So it's actually going to be these ones right up here. So you can see everything about the ad, what copy they have, what images they're using, and you can see what the call to action is. Is this pretty cool? Anybody else have a competitor they want to check out? Or we just leave it at this and I go on to the next tool? Yes, yes. Yeah, this is really good. And also it tells you what platforms they're advertising on, right? So Facebook owns 3 platforms. They own Facebook, they own Instagram, and they also own WhatsApp. Oh no, Messenger, and also WhatsApp. So they're not using WhatsApp right now, but they're using Messenger ads, Instagram ads, and Facebook ads, right? So you can see exactly what platforms they're using as well. This one is only running on, this is a different company, but it's only running on Instagram, right? Very, very good insights here. The other one I want to show you guys here is, yes, great question. Let's take a look and see. Let's see what comes up. They've changed this a few times. It used to be really really good before. We when they first launched this, we were able actually to see the target audience that they're going after. We're able to see exactly who their target audience and everything for it. So if we go Giving Tuesday, it doesn't. I would have to dig into this a little bit more. Let me put this in the chat, Annalyn, and just go through them and see what information gives. You might want to change it a little bit and maybe put in things like hashtag Giving Tuesday to see what comes up in that sense. Or if you just go to Facebook search and type in hashtag Giving Tuesday, see what companies come up and then come in and put those company names in here. From what I'm seeing right now, it looks like it's just they've narrowed it down to just by the names of the companies. Oh, and Giving Tuesday is a US thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
So that might be the reason why. And I'm sorry, since I'm sharing my screen so many times, it's super laggy right now, I think. So, and I've got way too many tabs open. But you can type in the USA here, and then that might give you a better result. Okay, and maybe do it without the space. Try without the space, but this is basically the process that we would do. We'd normally dedicate probably an entire day before we set off a campaign just to doing the research, right? Because it's a rabbit hole. Once you start going down the path, you start getting more and more stuff that you start uncovering as you go down the path. Almost every single time we do it, that's how it ends up. Okay. Now, before I move on to further finding other ways to reverse engineer competition, let's just go back to this other tool that I told you guys, which is called SC Ranking. And you see mine has the ability to do 100 searches a day, but the free account lets you do 10. All right. So you just can't go as crazy as I am. And if you want to do those, just got to do 10 a day. But if I type in this word right here on in SC Ranking, I can see that on average, this term over the last 12 months, if you divide the total amount of searches that it had for the last 12 months divided by 12, it's 1,600 searches happened for this term in the last 12 months. You can see that there's some seasonality. It was the lowest in October and it peaked around February. It starts to go down again. So as you can see, that's probably right, because if you look at the economy in the last couple of months, that definitely seems to be kind of the trend that we saw things happening, right? And then you can see the SEO difficulty. This is the difficulty if you wanted to know how hard would it be to rank for this term. Okay. I would generally, for most of us on all of us on the call for the most part, as well as most of the customers that I work with, unless we dealing with customers that are doing, tens of $1,000s a day in ads and budgets and so forth, you want to go for easier keywords. And the number of keywords that are available are literally unlimited. So you can definitely start to, focus on going after the low hanging fruit. I would say aim for keywords that have an SEO difficulty of 30 or less, right? Because SEO difficulty of 30 or less, you can probably rank on page 1 or 2 in anywhere between 3 to 6 months. Something like this can take you literally about 12 months of work to get this keyword to a page 2 or page 1. And the reason for that is that in order for you to show up for a keyword, I spoke to you guys some important factors. Number one is going to be you need to have content, relevant content on your page. You need to have supporting content coming on your website around it. And then last but not least, you need backlinks. And backlinks are other websites that are referring to your brand, pointing back at you, pointing back to your particular page. And sometimes you might need hundreds or thousands of backlinks to do so. So it could take you a significant amount of time to get to that. So that's why I'm saying if you're looking for a keyword to rank for, anything with the keyword difficulty of less than 30 is what I would aim for. More than 30, I would definitely say if you really, really want that one, then go for it. But expect you're going to be working on it for a while. Okay. Does that make sense? Now, also this tool has this one I find it has better data than the other one that we looked at before, because you can see keyword ideas. So when I type in that word, it can show us other keywords that have search volume as well. You can get related terms. So these are terms that are additional informational transactional keywords that are related to it, but not exactly the same. And then you can also find keywords that have low search volume, but probably easy to rank as well. So this would be really good keywords to support this one in the search results. Coming down a little bit further is you can see who are some of the competitors that are ranked. No, 161. You compete with banks for this term. So, Ayana, if you're watching the replay, that is a fairly tough one to go after. You're competing with banks, and banks are the one set of people that have a lot of money, and they probably put a lot of it into their marketing, right? So these are the competitors for it. A term like this, just looking at the competition, I would probably recommend deferring it or finding another version of that term. And the way you can do that is if you type in something like, if you just go into here, view detailed report, the free version will have you blocked out at about 10, but 10 is probably going to be enough for you anyhow. And you can see what are some of the other terms that might have easier difficulty. So this one here, Northwood mortgage rates, right? That one has a much lower search volume, but it'll be a lot easier to rank for, right? You could probably get away with that anywhere between 2 to 4 months. You could get that. You could get that ranking. There's more information. We'd have to dig a little bit deeper, but this would be I would say yes. Let's start looking into this at this point because we're going in the right direction. Okay, and you can see the search volume. You can see this is how you see other competitors that are ranking for it. So this is a really good tool if you want to see for any particular keyword. Now this looks like it's a branded term, Northwood Mortgages. I think that's definitely the name of a company. But you can see if you were to put in another term like mortgage agent, let's just do Toronto. This would be a better. This is that first term is a branded term, so that's why you only seeing the brand and its social signature. Oh, that's a very important thing I did mention. One important thing that you guys should do is when you rank your branded name, whether it is Java Logics or whether it's company XYZ, the important reason for you to get all of the social media accounts registered, as well as the directories, is by when you do that, you fill the entire first page of Google with your brand, right? Because the last thing you want to do is for when you search for Java Logics, another competitor shows up in the search results. Because then that way, that person is directly stealing the competitors and blatantly doing so because I didn't do a good job at closing the gap, right? So that's why I recommend when you start a brand, one of the things you want to do is we have something called a citation package that we go on for customers and we claim 50 directories for you. The reason why is because Google has 10 searches per page. And if we claim 50 of them and we do it right, the first 5 pages of Google for your branded term is just you, right? We know that people don't go past page one anyhow, but we want to be extra sure that no matter where they're searching for from the world, page one, page two, page three, page four, page five is just your brand. Okay, so that is definitely something that I definitely recommend you doing, and I can show you guys how to do that. It's just basically you find the directories for your brand, and you go in and claim them for it. Or if you don't want to do it, that's a service that we can offer. We can do you, but I definitely recommend you doing that because that's going to help solidify your brand. Okay, so that is around the SE ranking part of things. That's how you use that tool. And then this one also will give you, if you go back to ads history, this has a really cool way of showing the ads history on this one as well. I got 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna rifle through, I think, one more tool. Down here, you can see the ads that the competitors are running for that term, right? You can see what TD is running. You can see what effortless mortgages are running, right? If you click on this, you can see exactly the ad that they're writing, right? And that's ad number 484 variation, and it's in position number 5 on Google, right? So if you're writing an ad for this term, hey, don't try and reverse engineer it, right? Not sorry, reverse engineer. Don't try and guess it on your own, right? Look at what the competition is doing. Make it your own. Make it better than what they have. Okay. That is the key thing for, yes, for ads. That's what it is. The free version, like I said, only shows you the top 5 or 10, but that's usually enough to get you started. And a paid version will show you obviously all the results that are available. The next cool website I want to show you guys is one called Similar Web. SimilarWeb.com is there's another one called Buzz. I'll just do Similar Web for now. BuzzSumo is another one that can show you how popular terms are. I'll get to that one in a second. SimilarWeb. If we go in and we analyze a website on here, okay, because we don't have an actual example, we're going to go after apple.com. Okay, if you click on apple.com and we go to oh, now you can analyze, you can even look at their apps that they have. That's good. If you just go to apple.com right here, we'll be able to actually see what are some of the traffic sources at Apple. Where is Apple getting their traffic coming from? Okay, let that load. BuzzSumo content insights. There we go. Whoops, I clicked on the ad. Forgive me, guys. All right, so let's see what this comes up as. Anybody using the dark mode on their Chrome browser? That's one of the new updates they did recently, and I'm really liking it. It saves my eyes quite a bit. Dark, all the pages are dark instead of the white. I don't need to use the blue light filter as much anymore. All right, so now we can see that apple.com is ranked 63 worldwide for most powerful websites on the internet, which is pretty solid. Their total visits is 535 million visits. They see the traffic. This is where the traffic. So this is this. If you're doing this for a competition, the same kind of idea. The numbers would just be smaller than this, but you can see Apple gets on average 553 million searches. I think that's monthly. Doesn't say it right here, but I'm pretty sure that's monthly. Average duration is 3 minutes and 40 seconds. They visit on average 3.62 pages, and their bounce rate is about a 50%. So 50% of people who land on even on Apple, one of the most powerful websites in the world, half of the people bounce away. Do you know the averages for all websites online? Anybody want to take a guess of what's the average bounce rate for all websites across the web? 97. 97%. So 97% of people who go to your website will bounce and go away. What product or tool do we recommend for to bring people back if they come to your website and they bounce away? What kind of advertising technique I've taught you guys to bring those people back? What is anybody know what it's called? Retargeting. Retargeting is that main one. All right. Awesome. Oh, we've got the legend himself, Mr. Robbie Singh. Hey, buddy. All right. So good. All right. We wrapping up here. We got about 8 minutes, but you can feel free to listen in, and you got to replay the catch up. All right. So if we look at out of those that 534 million people who visit Apple's website on a monthly basis, we see right here 36% comes direct. Right. What kind of keyword do you think would be a direct keyword for Apple? Would that be a navigational keyword, a transactional keyword, or an informational keyword? It would be a navigational keyword, right? So that means somebody who's typing in exactly what I did, Apple or apple.com, right? Now just think of what Apple had to do for their brand, because a negative keyword for Apple would be what? The fruit apple, right? So apple fruit or Macintosh apples. Well, no, Macintosh, they name a computer Macintosh as well, but Granny Smith apples, right? If any of those terms to Apple is actually, that's a really good example. I was trying to think of a good way to show you guys what a negative keyword is, and that would be a negative keyword for a brand like Apple, because Apple can be Apple as we know it as the computers and the Apple products, but we also know Apple as a fruit. And if Apple is spending millions of dollars in paid ads, right, to drive people to their brand, they do not want to pay for people looking for Granny Smith apples. Okay, so that would be a negative keyword in their list. So we have much of the traffic is coming from direct. Some traffic is coming from referral sources. What would be referral sources? What do you think a referral source is to a website? A referral source would be meaning coming from another website. So people who write blogs, people who do backlinks, people who write reviews, right? So 9% of their traffic comes from that. A lot of it will be like referral sites. 49, so half of their traffic, 59% of their traffic comes from people searching for Apple or Apple related keywords online, right? So these are transactional based keywords, informational based keywords, and the people searching for online. Majority of the traffic that Apple gets comes from that. 3% comes from social, right? So they do have a presence on social, but it's definitely nowhere as big as their search or direct search. They are still doing some mailing, some email marketing, right? That represents 1.32% of their market. And they're also doing display advertising, right? So these are the banner ads that you see on YouTube, on search engines and so forth. When you're searching online, those ads that show up, Apple's doing some of it. It's still part of their marketing, but it's a much smaller percentage of that. Okay. Was this cool? Was this informational for you guys? Give me a number 5 in the comments if you find this, if this was helpful. All right, Piyush said he uses the dark mode as well. So yes, definitely helps save your eyes if you're on computer as much as I do. Okay, now looking at the referrals, we can see here, it actually tells us also what are the other websites that are sending the most traffic over to Apple, right? So these are some other websites you can go in and see. If you are a person who has a brand and you want to get either backlinks to your site or you want to get traffic coming from it, I would go in and explore these sites here and see if I can get my product on these sites, because we see that it's sending a lot of traffic to my main competitor. Okay, and you can see, and you want to see also, so where does apple.com send their traffic to? Because Apple is also sending customers to other websites, and you can see some of it are to um their other website they have. So like probably apple.com, people type in apple.com. If they're in China, 14% of it goes to their China Apple division, right? Some of their traffic goes to Microsoft, some of it goes to Google for whatever reason. So that's, of those 50% of people that bounce, this is where they go to after they come from Apple. All right. We talked about search. So again, we can see what are some of the keywords that are showing up for search. There will be a discrepancy between the tools, guys. When you look at the first one I showed you, which is iEspionage, look at SE ranking, looking at at something like this. The key thing to keep in mind, they're measuring slightly different variables that can change the numbers significantly. Some of them will check the whole world. Some of them will check just Canada. Some of them will give you an average of Google, Bing, YouTube, and so forth, all the search engines. Some of them will just do Google, right, or Bing, and that's part of the reason why you'll see a different variation from them to each other. And then the other thing too is that this is data at scale. Like this is billions and billions of entries going in to come up with these numbers for you. So use it as a guide for it, but try not to use it. Don't get caught up in it being literal. That's exactly the number. Okay, but you can just see in something like that. What I mean by that is that if you look at this, you can see, all right, majority of the traffic for Apple right now is coming from YouTube, right? So don't get hung up on the 34.12%. Just get on, majority of traffic is coming from this, and it's significantly bigger than the next traffic source, which is Twitter and Facebook. Look at this, and Reddit and LinkedIn, right? So there are tons and tons of traffic sources, and that's another conversation to have in the future, is looking at what are the traffic sources that people are getting traffic from. A lot of people think the only places to advertise are on Google or Facebook. Yes, these are the most advanced platforms to advertise on, but I know a lot of people who are making a lot of money advertising on Kijiji, right? Or advertising on other websites, on Yellow Pages, right? The key thing for you is to find a platform that works for you, that is unsaturated for your niche, unsaturated for your keywords that you're comfortable using, and exploit the living heck out of it. And I mean that, exploit it, right? If you want to go out, if you want to go out to Google, yes, Google's great, but how competitive is it? Are you making traction on it? If not, it's okay. You can switch. You're not married to Google, and you can test other traffic sources as well in your arsenal. Right now, an amazing one to get impression and views is TikTok. Right, TikTok is number 2 right now in terms of overall traffic globally. Right, so you definitely want to take advantage of that platform as well. Talk about display advertising, so you can see what are some of the places that they're putting their ads on. and you could go down to this. So I would recommend checking out those tools. It's 10 o'clock, so I'm going to kind of do a quick summary of everything that we talked about. Check out these tools that I shared. The first one is iEspionage. I'll put it in the replay link as well for you guys. SE ranking is the other one that I recommend, as well as this one right here, SimilarWeb. BuzzSumo. I didn't get a chance to go into that one, but there's a similar idea to what SimilarWeb does. And there's, if you're looking for additional keyword ideas, is a really called Ask the Public. AskThePublic.com, and that's a really cool tool that if you type it into this tool, it'll give you guys. Is it AskThePublic.com? That was Ask the Public. If anybody else remembers this, please ask the. Interesting. I thought it was AskThePublic.com or ASCII. Answer the Public. Sorry, it's Answer the Public, not Ask the Public. And you put it in, and it gives you other keyword ideas. Okay, and that's really good for getting ideas for doing things like keyword research and so forth. There are tons and tons of other tools that we can go into, but in terms of limited for time, I try to pull the most user-friendly, the ones that are usually free or freemium version of it, and something that you guys can all use to get started. And as you go down that rabbit hole, you'll get more and more ideas for it. Okay, so if you go to this Answer the Public's website and you type in any question, it'll give you additional suggestions. So let's just do an example like it says here, iPhone. All right, you do search. It'll give you topics around the iPhone for you guys to see. So play around with that. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions? Any additional questions? You guys all good? It was a quiet day today. Everybody's on mute with me, but that's good. All right. So that's awesome. Thank you everybody for jumping on. This is I think lots of really cool a lot of really cool tools here I want to share with you guys for it. So play around with these for your particular niche. This will definitely help you guys get some additional ideas. And this is what I mean by this Answer the Public. It gives you other questions that you can ask that people are actually asking online. All right. So with that said, everybody, have yourself an amazing, amazing Saturday, amazing weekend. And by all means, reach out if you have any questions. Keep an eye out for the replay. It's coming through your inbox in about 2 hours. And I'll also put all these links in that email for you guys. Sweet. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care. Bye.